We'll be putting the Renegade Graphene Spray Coating through my 2.0 series of tests. Our friends at Renegade were kind enough to send me this bottle so that I could let you know whether or not I like this product. Renegade says that their graphene infused spray coating is supposed to be easy to use on wheels, paint, and glass and provide up to 1 year of protection. We'll find out just how good this product is and whether or not I recommend it. We will begin with application testing. We will shake the product up. The instructions for this product call out applying it basically like any other spray sealant. Effectively, we're going to put a little on the terry cloth, a little on the surface, and wipe it into a high shine. There is no dwell time or flashing time. Before each test, the hood is polished with Meguiar's 205 and properly decontaminated. Performance will be subjectively rated between a +10 and a -10. I found this Renegade spray sealant as easy to use as any other spray product, so I'll give it a 10. That's what we want to see. It's a super easy to use spray sealant. To rate visual appeal, we will use a subjective scoring system ranging from a +10 to a -10, where a +10 represents an exceptionally pretty product, while a -10 represents a product that significantly detracts from the look of the polished paint. We average the score between this red panel and a black panel that I'll show you in a second. I've placed a blue marker on our red panel and the product is on the left side of the marker. Here is another angle where the product is now on the right side of the blue marker. Despite YouTube's 8-bit color limitation, I will try to show you the difference between the two sections. In this case, it'll probably be quite hard for you to see where the product is. I'll do my best to show it to you, but I think it's a pretty weak result on the red panel. There is an improvement, so I suppose I will go to a 5. We've got the Renegade on the black panel here, and once again, we have the blue marker with the Renegade starting at the right of the blue marker. In this case, I think the Renegade did a much better job on the black. I think this is a solid 5, maybe even stretching beyond that. So perhaps if you have a black car, it may look a lot better on that black car. Overall, I'll average this product out to 5 points. I think it's a fair score. I need 1 second of your time to let you know that down below in the description, there are affiliate links to the product, tools, and production gear used to make this video. Clicking through and purchasing anything at all will help support this channel. Also in the description is a link to my website with prior test results. If you're enjoying this video, I'd love it if you hit subscribe, rung that bell, and left me a nice comment. Moving on to gloss testing, we will be able to use my gloss meter to determine if the panel has lost or gained gloss with the application of the product. We will make sure our gloss meter is reading 104 at 20 degrees on the calibration slide and then take 10 readings that we will average out. Points will be awarded or taken away for any gain or loss in gloss up to 1/10 of a gloss unit. Gloss in this context is the measured reflection of light, and with nothing applied, this panel reads 94 gloss units on average after being machine polished. Looks like we've got 90.5, 92, 92 once more, 91.8, 91.3, I saw it there for a second, 92.7, 92.2, 90, 93.3, 92.9, so we've got 918.7. We're gonna divide that by 10 to average, and 91.9 rounded up is what we got for a gloss unit reading. And we can subtract 94 from that, and it means we lost 2.1 gloss units from our base 94 gloss reading. That is a pretty decent score. Most products definitely do worse than that. And here I'll just show you the bare paint so you can see it without any product. 94.2. Slickness imparted by spray sealants can be a great way to reduce marring, swirls, and scratches when washing and maintaining your vehicle. In this test, we'll objectively score slickness by measuring the static coefficient of friction of the product applied to this panel. We'll be taking 5 gram force readings, 80 grams, 110 grams, 110 grams again, 80 grams, and our final reading, 120 grams. We'll divide 500 by 5, and of course that means 100 grams was the average force it took to break this block free. We know our test block is 1,040 grams. By dividing 100 by 1,040, we get 0.10 rounded up as our static coefficient of friction. These panels are polished before every test, and without any product applied, they average out to 0.38 as the static coefficient of friction of the bare clear-coated paint. To get our slickness score, we'll subtract 0.10 from 0.38 and then multiply the difference by our score multiplier factor of 30. This product is scored an 8.4, which is a really great score. It did very well. This machine does UV weathering. So there are 2 bulbs inside here that are UVA 340 bulbs, and that means this machine can simulate months or even years of UV exposure. This counter is going to read out the running time. As you can tell, we have multiple products being tested here, including the one we're looking at today. Those products themselves have been applied to these microscopy slides. I have these neat little plastic slides that I've painted in orange paint. Here you see one that's labeled control and it has a piece of glass over it with nothing on it. That is a slide that has not been treated with anything. We also have this one labeled dark. This is another control that's going to go in a dark box. This slide here has been clear coated, and it's also going to go in a dark box. Over here we have a clear coated slide with no glass on top of it. So the idea here is we'll be able to tell what difference, if any, these products make. All we got to do now is wait. It's been 24 hours. The machine shut itself off when the counter reached the limit. Here are our 2 dark samples. That's the clear coated one. That's the uncoated one. I've moved the samples on top of their respective slides so we can get a better idea of what they look like. The sample that says dark, just to remind you, is the one that didn't see any UV exposure. And as you can see, it's so much brighter. It still has that bright orange pigment compared to everything else. This is our control that had no glass over it. And again, it's all the exact same thing. Now we have our control clear-coated slide that sat in the dark and our clear-coated control slide that did not sit in the dark, that got exposed to UV. Renegade graphene spray versus our dark sample that was never exposed to UV really shows you how much pigment color was lost due to the UV exposure. It's so much darker and duller. When stacked against our control sample that did get exposed to UV, we see they look the same. Maybe a small variation in how we sprayed them. The clear-coated sample, on the other hand, that did get exposed to UV was able to retain a lot more of its color. The controls look the same as all the ones protected by that slide in our test. The only difference is the clear coat. Durability can be a huge factor when deciding if a product is right for you. I've devised an objective and repeatable test that gives us a great way to compare products. Before starting this test, let's take a look at the hydrophobicity of our product. We've got the Renegade Graphene on the left of the panel and a different product we're testing on the right. The Renegade Graphene is incredibly hydrophobic. We've got our test panel locked into the silicometer, and this machine will scrub a terry-covered applicator in a predictable wear pattern at 30 RPM while dispensing shampoo for lubrication. The scoring, which I'll show you on the screen, is done in buckets of 0, 10, 20, 50, 100, 300, and 1000. If the product is still working past a set, it will get that amount of points. We've already pre-soaked the applicators with our shampoo solution, and I squirted a bit onto the panel to prevent a dry start. I've dialed 10 washes into the machine, which will automatically prompt it to stop. While durability and longevity are different things, there is a clear and consistent correlation between high durability and high longevity products. Longevity may be affected by other factors such as temperature, chemical interactions, and other unique aspects of your environment. 10 washes in, let's see if our Renegade Graphene is still working. And it definitely seems to be working, though we are starting to see that wear pattern, which shows us that it is experiencing some failure. Now let's take it up to 20 washes. When he washes in, let's see if the Renegade Graphene is still working. We can definitely see that wear pattern getting bigger and bigger. It's getting close to failure. Let's kick this thing up to 50 washes. "50 washes in, is the Renegade still working?" Based on the wear pattern, I'd say the Renegade is right at its failure point. There's no way it's making it another 50 washes to 100, so we'll call it at 50. With our testing complete, let's talk about what I liked, what could be improved, and whether or not I recommend this product. One of the best things this Renegade product has going for it is just how easy it is to use. I was able to spray it on, buff it off, kind of wipe everything up with no residue, no streaking. It was very simple. This product also did very well in our slickness testing. It scored an 8.4. That's a fantastic score. This means the product is very, very good at preventing marring and scratching as you're washing your paint. You want that sponge or terry or whatever you're using to glide on that paint. And for such a simple to use product, it was also quite durable. We got right around 50 washes. I don't think it would have really made it to the next level. It was very clearly like right on par with our control. but it is still pretty impressive how long that product held on. I also thought it did pretty well on the gloss meter testing. It only lost 2 gloss units, which is right around the threshold of what people that are pretty good at observing gloss can really tell. Now, if you were to lose, let's say 10, that would be a bit of a big deal. Pretty much anybody would start to notice that. And the reason you do seem to lose gloss with most products is because when you take a painted surface and you really polish it, it does become very difficult to put something on it and not lose gloss. The product I thought was also relatively pretty. It wasn't blowing me away. It did score 5 points. It just isn't stunning in the way a few other products are, but still a solid showing. As far as the UV performance, in none of my tests, this is now the 3rd generation of testing, in none of my tests have I ever really seen a result. And it's the same thing here. I just can't reproduce any sort of UV reflection or blocking. As far as my overall recommendation on this graphene spray coating, I think it's a solid product for a newer user that doesn't want to dive into a full-on spray coating or a liquid coating. It is a solid performer in terms of durability, and I was blown away by that slickness. And the product is good to look at. It does improve your paint, and just super simple to use. If you're new to my channel, I do a lot of detailing content, including super nerdy stuff like what you saw today, but also more general how-tos and detailing videos. I'm also a huge car nerd. I love wrenching on my cars. I do performance mods. I maintain my cars, and there's all kinds of other content that I think a lot of enthusiasts would be into. If you've enjoyed today's video, do remember to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and leave me a comment. And most of all, I'd love to see you again really soon.